Welcome to today's video where we're diving into the top 5 dirty weaknesses that every man needs to recognize and overcome. As men, it's easy to fall into patterns of behavior that undermine our strength and clarity. Drawing from the principles of Stoicism, we'll explore the weaknesses that can hold us back and prevent us from becoming the best version of ourselves. Stoicism, with its focus on self-control, resilience, and rational thinking, offers powerful tools for transforming these weaknesses into strengths. By understanding and confronting these areas, we can build mental fortitude and gain a deeper sense of control over our lives. Stoicism teaches that true strength isn't about avoiding challenges or pretending weaknesses don't exist. Instead, it's about facing them head-on, understanding their origins, and taking deliberate action to overcome them. The most successful and resilient men are those who are willing to confront their flaws, learn from them, and grow stronger in the process. In this video, we will unpack the top weaknesses that men often struggle with, from emotional impulsivity to fear of failure, and provide insights from Stoic philosophy to help you conquer them. By the end of this video, you'll understand why acknowledging and working on these weaknesses is not a sign of defeat, but rather a powerful step toward becoming a more capable, disciplined, and wise individual. Stoicism teaches us that life will always present obstacles, but it's our reaction to these obstacles that truly defines us. So let's take a deep dive into these dirty weaknesses and explore how you can use Stoic wisdom to turn them into opportunities for growth and transformation. Fear of failure is a deep-seated weakness that holds many men back from reaching their full potential. Whether it's fear of making mistakes in business, relationships, or personal goals, the fear of failure can be paralyzing, often preventing us from taking risks or stepping out of our comfort zones. Stoicism offers a powerful remedy for this fear by emphasizing that failure is not to be feared but accepted as a natural part of life's journey. In fact, the Stoics believe that the fear of failure is rooted in our attachment to outcomes which are often beyond our control. By shifting our focus from results to effort and growth, we can transform failure from something to avoid into something to embrace as an opportunity for learning. One of the core Stoic teachings is the distinction between what is within our control and what is not. Our actions, thoughts, and attitudes are within our control, but the outcome of those actions is not. When we fear failure, we often tie our self-worth to the result, which leads to anxiety and hesitation. Stoicism teaches us to detach from the need for external validation and instead focus on doing what is right and virtuous, regardless of the outcome. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, famously wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength by focusing on the process and embracing failure as a stepping stone rather than a final verdict. We can break free from the paralyzing fear that often keeps us from taking action. Another Stoic practice to overcome the fear of failure is premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This practice involves mentally preparing for the worst-case scenario. By imagining and accepting the potential for failure, we become less afraid of it because we have already visualized how we would respond. For instance, if you're considering starting a new business, instead of fearing failure, you would think about how you might handle financial loss, rejection, or criticism. This mental rehearsal helps to reduce the emotional charge around failure, making it less threatening and more manageable. As you mentally prepare for these challenges, you also gain confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. The key takeaway from Stoicism in overcoming the fear of failure is this: one of the most common weaknesses men face is emotional impulsivity. which often leads to rash decisions and actions driven by fleeting feelings rather than reason. Stoicism teaches us that emotions, while natural, should not control our actions. A Stoic approach emphasizes the importance of cultivating self-control, the ability to pause, reflect, and choose how to respond, rather than reacting impulsively to every emotional trigger. Emotional impulsivity can manifest in many ways, from snapping at someone in anger to making hasty decisions out of frustration or fear. These actions often lead to regret and missed opportunities for growth. The Stoics believe that emotional disturbances are a result of our attachment to external things and our expectations of how life should be. For example, when we are faced with a setback, we may feel anger or disappointment because our expectations haven't been met. However, Stoicism teaches that we cannot control external events, only how we respond to them. By practicing mindfulness and cultivating a sense of detachment from our emotions, we can gain greater control over how we react to challenges, frustrations, and even successes. This allows us to approach life with a calm, steady mindset, unaffected by fleeting emotions. To improve self-control, Stoicism advises practicing the art of premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This involves mentally preparing for potential challenges or setbacks before they occur. By visualizing difficulties in advance, we can cultivate emotional resilience and avoid impulsive reactions when faced with adversity. In moments of anger or frustration, this mental preparation allows us to pause and regain control over our emotions, preventing rash decisions that could negatively impact our lives. Over time, this practice strengthens our ability to respond thoughtfully and rationally. Even in one of the most damaging weaknesses men face today is the constant pursuit of instant gratification. In a world where we have quick access to entertainment, food, social validation, and other pleasures, the temptation to seek immediate rewards often overrides our long-term goals and well-being. Stoicism teaches us the importance of patience and delayed gratification, emphasizing that true fulfillment comes from enduring temporary discomfort for long-term growth and success. The Stoics believed that cultivating self-discipline and focusing on what truly matters allows us to rise above the constant lure of instant rewards. The key to overcoming this trap lies in developing the Stoic virtue of temperance, the ability to control our desires and impulses. Instead of giving in to every temptation, we can practice mindful restraint, recognizing that momentary pleasures often lead to long-term dissatisfaction. By prioritizing our long-term goals, whether it's personal growth, career success, or building meaningful relationships, we learn to endure discomfort and delay gratification, ultimately leading to greater satisfaction and achievement. Stoicism also encourages us to focus on what we can control: our actions, attitudes, and choices. We cannot control the allure of quick rewards, but we can control how we respond to them. By practicing self-control and focusing on our higher values, we create lasting fulfillment rather than short-lived pleasure. Through this mindset, we gain greater strength and resilience, free from the chains of instant gratification. The Stoic approach empowers us to stay focused on what truly matters, building a life based on purpose and discipline rather than fleeting desires. A common weakness that many men struggle with is the victim mentality, the belief that life is happening to them and that they have little control over their circumstances. This mindset can prevent growth and keep us trapped in a cycle of blaming external factors or other people for our problems. Stoicism, however, offers a powerful antidote to this. The Stoics teach that we are always responsible for our reactions to external events. While we cannot control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond. By taking full responsibility for our actions, thoughts, and emotions, we regain control over our lives and break free from the victim mentality. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle reminds us that external events are beyond our control, but our response to them is entirely within our power. Instead of blaming others or life circumstances, Stoicism encourages us to look inward and focus on how we can adapt, learn, and improve. Taking responsibility for our situation empowers us to make choices that align with our values and long-term goals, rather than feeling helpless or passive in the face of adversity. To overcome the victim mentality, Stoics practice amor fati, which means love of fate. This involves embracing life's challenges and viewing them as opportunities for growth, rather than obstacles to avoid. By shifting our perspective and accepting that everything, both good and bad, is part of our journey, we stop seeing ourselves as victims. Instead, we become active participants in our own lives, taking responsibility for the direction we want to go. This shift in mindset not only helps us build resilience, but also leads to a more empowered and fulfilling life. Ultimately, Stoicism teaches that we are not defined by what happens to us, but by how we choose to respond. By letting go of the victim mentality and taking full responsibility for our lives, we unlock the power to shape our own destiny, free from the limitations that come with blame and resentment. One of the most transformative lessons Stoicism offers is the importance of acceptance and letting go. Life is full of uncertainties, setbacks, and things beyond our control, yet many men struggle to accept this reality. Instead, they resist, fight, or try to control outcomes that are not theirs to influence. Stoicism teaches that peace comes from accepting what we cannot change and focusing only on what is within our control. By practicing acceptance, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering and mental turmoil. The Stoics distinguish between things we can control, our actions, thoughts, and attitudes, and things we cannot, such as other people's behavior or external events. By focusing our energy only on the former, we reduce anxiety and frustration. For instance, if a man faces rejection or failure, Stoicism encourages him to accept those events as part of life's natural flow, rather than resisting or dwelling on them. Through this acceptance, we can find peace, understanding that no amount of resistance can change what has already occurred. Instead, we are empowered to move forward and respond constructively. Letting go is also about releasing attachment to specific outcomes or expectations. Stoicism teaches that attachment to specific results, whether it's career success, a perfect relationship, or a certain lifestyle, often leads to dissatisfaction because life rarely unfolds exactly as we envision. By practicing detachment and focusing on the process rather than the result, we cultivate greater emotional stability. When we let go of our need for control over every outcome, we become more adaptable and open to life's possibilities, embracing whatever comes our way with grace. In the end, the practice of acceptance and letting go allows us to live with more peace and resilience. When we stop fighting against the inevitable, we create space for personal growth, wisdom, and deeper emotional strength. By embracing what we cannot change and focusing on what we can control, we unlock a sense of freedom that enables us to move through life's challenges with confidence rather than frustration or fear. This Stoic principle of acceptance empowers us to live fully in the present moment, no longer burdened by the weight of what is beyond our grasp. As we've seen throughout this video, Stoicism offers powerful tools for overcoming the weaknesses that hold us back as men. From emotional impulsivity to the fear of failure, the Stoic approach teaches us how to cultivate resilience, self-discipline, and a deep sense of inner peace. By recognizing and confronting these dirty weaknesses, we begin to transform them into strengths, shaping ourselves into individuals who are capable of facing life's challenges with grace and confidence. The key takeaway from Stoic philosophy is that we cannot control everything that happens to us, but we always have control over how we respond. By practicing self-awareness, taking responsibility, and learning the art of acceptance, we can free ourselves from the grip of negative patterns and limiting beliefs. This is not a path of avoidance, but one of active engagement, learning to embrace life's difficulties as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles to our happiness. So as you move forward, remember that the Stoic way is about mastering your mind, emotions, and reactions. With each small step toward embracing these principles, you will begin to build a life grounded in purpose, resilience, and true strength. The weaknesses that once held you back can be transformed into powerful tools for personal growth. By letting go of attachments, resisting impulsivity, and accepting what life brings, nothing and nobody can stand in the way of your journey toward becoming the best version of yourself.